Hello and welcome to NTEP Politics. Today we're going to be analyzing how powerful the Trump endorsement really is. Trump likes to say that his endorsement is the most powerful thing in Congress. So we're going to check the record of Trump and see how true this really is. So we have three candidates here. We have Mike Carey. So Mike Carey, he was running in Ohio's 15th congressional district. He ran a very solid campaign, very solid pro-Trump campaign, got Trump's endorsement. Trump did very well. Trump did very well in this district, and Mike Carey did very well in the district. He won the primary solidly. He was not expected to win by the margin he did. He got like 39% of the vote. He was a very good, very solid campaign, and he did very well. And then we have Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, he was an incumbent in Kentucky. I bet you all know him. Um, he was the incumbent in Kentucky. He received Trump's endorsement, and he was probably going to lose his primary if Trump did not endorse him, but Trump ended up endorsing him. He begged for Trump's endorsement, and he ended up winning his primary. It was probably for the worst of the party, just because of how terrible he is. He's literally just a corporate shill who loves the companies, loves the big tech, and really is not fighting for Trumpism like he should be. And then we have Glenn Youngkin. Glenn Youngkin is it's not really the entire reason. Trump is not the entire reason why it won. It was mainly due to McAuliffe's comments on critical race theory in schools, and and mainly his decoy white supremacists he sent out. But and I'm not going to say he's not part of it, because in several of the rural counties, Trump got nowhere. The Republicans were nowhere close to 90 in any of the rural counties before Trump came along, and then Trump he gave his endorsement to Youngkin. He outperformed Trump in the counties. He even got almost 90 in some of the counties, and it was absolutely crazy. And I don't think Youngkin could have gotten anywhere close to that without Trump's support in Virginia. So if you're running a great campaign, uh, Trump's endorsement going to help a lot. Now I don't. Now we're going to talk about some of the other cases of it failing. So we had these congressmen. So we have two of these examples. So we're going to talk about some of these cases. So we have Lauren Boebert. Lauren Boebert, very right-wing politician, very America First politician, very anti-immigration, very pro-gun politician in Congress. She was elected because because she beat the Trump-endorsed opponent, Scott Tipton. Scott Tipton received Trump's endorsement and ended up losing to Lauren Boebert. And now we have Jake Ellzey. So Jake Ellzey was running against Susan Wright. Susan Wright was running in Texas's 6th district, that is the Dallas-Fort Worth suburbs. Susan Wright was running against Jake Ellzey. She lost, received Trump's endorsement. She was only really focusing on being endorsed by Trump, really didn't go out there and campaign by much, and he was a pretty popular politician in the area, and Trump really only endorsed her because of Susan Wright, because Susan Wright was a widow probably, but he was elected, and he was he's more of just a generic conservative. Wright was definitely more right wing, but very generic conservative, very pro-Israel. I'm not really a huge fan of Israel, but very just a generic conservative in my opinion. But he did embrace Trumpism, and now we have Madison Cawthorn. You probably have seen his stuff recently. I'm not going to talk about that, but he beat a Trump-endorsed opponent in 2020, and he was definitely more right-wing, and that's why he won, because he was more right-wing. He's very pro-life, and he's very solid on the culture war, although some of the things we've seen definitely counteract that, being strong in the culture war, but he's embracing the American Populist Union for a lot of it, and has been exposing a lot of the swamp in Congress. So, I mean, he's definitely more right-wing. You see that. And then we have Katie Britt, the CEO of OnlyFans, who is running for Congress in Alabama, who is running against Mo Brooks, just running the most awful campaign, only focusing on Trump's endorsement again. He was very pro-Trump, very focused on overturning the 2020 election in Alabama, but unfortunately, it didn't happen. And now he's running for Senate and not running a great campaign at all. He's collapsing. Trump even rescinded his endorsement. May even endorse her. Maybe endorse the CEO of OnlyFans. But we're gonna have to wait and see. So we have some of these cases. So 2 of these were elected because they were more right wing. They were more appealing to the America First movement. And 2 of them are elected or about to be elected because their opponents were just running terrible campaigns. And they're only focusing on Trump's endorsement. So you have to see that people don't notice. They think it's just, oh, you have to just run on being endorsed by Trump. Don't really talk about the issues. You have to do both. You have to get the endorsement. You can do it without it, but it's probably a good idea to get his endorsement because it definitely does play a role in polls. In polls, you see this when we talk about the next one, but it definitely plays a role in polls. And you have to focus on the issues a lot. And Trump's endorsement definitely helps, but we're going to have to wait and see. Now I have these. These are Trump's next test to see his endorsement. So we have J.D. Vance. So J.D. Vance has been surging in the polls recently. He recently received Trump's endorsement. He is completely surging. Now, Trump was very strategic about his endorsement for Ohio, in my opinion, because it did it just a couple weeks before the election, unlike Brooks, where he endorsed Brooks right away. And I must have heard him because he just started falling in the polls. Now, J.D. Vance received it like last minute. He's getting a last-minute bump, and it's probably going to end up getting him elected, the last-minute bump in the polls. Most people who get a last-minute bump in the polls end up outperforming their polls. We saw this with Trump. We saw this with Newsom. We saw this with Youngkin. So he'll probably end up outperforming his polls in Ohio. He's probably going to end up getting elected, and it's going to be a good look on Trump, seeing that this guy gets elected. And he was not leading in the polls soon. We're going to see the Trafalgar poll soon. I think it's going to be a good look for Trump in Ohio. And J.D. Vance ran a solid campaign. He was endorsed by Trump. And I think it's going to be a good look for Trump, a good look for his influence of the party. Now I have David Perdue. David Perdue, endorsed by Trump. Not really the most America First politician, doesn't really have the greatest record in Congress, accused of insider trading, although he claims he's totally exonerated. No wrongdoing whatsoever. But he never congratulated Biden in the 2020 election. He couldn't there's nothing he really could do to overturn it, but he never congratulated Biden, never condemned the peaceful protesters on January 6th. Now, he's not running the greatest campaign. Not really talking too much about Trump's endorsement, but he's not really getting out there. I haven't seen like one single David Perdue ad. I see J.D. Vance and Dr. Oz talking a lot on my Twitter feed, but I never see David Perdue talking. I don't really know if he's even campaigning. We'll see if he wins, but it's not really a good look. But I'm not going to rule it out. People's Pundit does say he has a shot. We're going to have to wait and see. Now we have Dr. Oz. Dr. Oz, he is running. He's endorsed by Trump. He's focusing on the issues a lot, running an okay campaign, but not the greatest campaign. He does have a lot of skepticisms whether he's actually conservative, but I think he is in a good spot. He's been campaigning a lot, got the Trump endorsement, and we're going to have to wait and see how this ends up for Dr. Oz. So we'll see how Trump's influence over the party continues throughout the next decade. And I think he has a good influence, but he doesn't always endorse the most America First politicians, but the voters see this. They see this. So thanks for watching my video. I'll see you next time. Goodbye. Don't forget to like and subscribe.